I'm Kathy Reno. I've been nominated by my former favorite boss, Scott Potts, to do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Up until now, he was my favorite. Um, ALS is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and last year they raised $2 million for research for this disease, and now are up to 42 million with the different ice bucket challenges and donations. Um, with that being said, I would like to nominate my friend Trish Evelyn. Marilyn, I saved you, and my friend and cousin down south, Rachel Mode, and my brother who picked on me a lot growing up, Michael Parks. With that being said, I'm already wet because I've done it once, so there's not a lot of ice, if any, left in here, but I'm redoing it so that way you see it. Thank you, Scott Potts. Oh my gosh, it's cold. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
People can think, why did God give it to you? He didn't. But he can take a bad situation and bring glory. That's why. Even when I was diagnosed, a nurse that pushed me out said, why do bad things happen to good people? But I knew then he still has a plan. I realized then what my purpose is. I did let the nurse know that pushed me out that God does have a plan. ALS symptoms started right after the shutdown of COVID. So, it started in my hand, and we figured it was carpal tunnel and trigger finger. But then I would walk with a glass of water and it would splash. I felt like my body was shutting down. So I still hadn't had the diagnosis yet. And then at one point, I remember pulling out of the garage. I had kind of a sense I would never get better. I went to meet with the surgeon, and he thought the neurologist thought I had, which I do, spinal stenosis and two bulging discs. He did not want to do surgery because he thought it wouldn't take care of it. I was crushed. So all of the sudden, an overwhelming sense of peace overtook my body, and it's gonna be okay. And I said, Okay. I was able to get with another surgeon who saw me and agreed that that surgery would not help. Looking back now, I respect the first surgeon's decision not to operate. The other surgeon I went to see was a friend of my husband's cousin, and he agreed with the surgeon, but he said something about ALS, and he referred me to Ohio State. So they confirmed it February 11th that it was in fact ALS. On the way home, my sister and I we have a way of laughing. So I told her I'm gonna call my friends to come and visit, and when they say I don't have time, I'll say, well, you better hurry up. They only gave me 3 to 4 years to live. And we cracked up and laughed. So, on the way home, my brother Mike called. I told Mike I know what it was like for Peter and Jesus on the water if I would lose sight of Jesus. It became very dark, and when I focused back, I was better. I went back to work after that, and they kept wanting me to use a walker. I hated it. I hated it. But I was leaving work one day and did a face plant. Had a meltdown. One of the coworkers wrapped her arms around me and hugged me. In the meantime, 2 students had seen me fall, and I told them I would be okay. So I told the boys I would see them Monday. So I called the one teacher and said, bring him up and he can see I'm okay. And he kept asking about me. Thank goodness we have masks. It hid some of the scrapes, and he came up and we talked, and as he rolled away, well, he did ask to see my face, and I said, I can't, I have my mask on. I didn't want him to worry. And he rolled away and said, yes, Mrs. Reno is alive. And I said, it's gonna take a lot more than that to make me die. Okay, anyway, it was sweet. Do you know why I work with kids?
Why?
For one, I got in a lot of trouble as a kid. And I always gravitate to the boogers. I love them. They're my favorite. A couple hours later, my boss paid administrative leave. I bawled. It was very difficult, but I could still find God's hand in it. So I stayed home, and I realized then my body was tired. I couldn't do it anymore. I knew it was time. But fortunately, I worked at a great place, and they would come and get me and take me in, and I'd see kids, and I loved it. Highlight of my day, I worked with wonderful people and kids and administrators, so can't complain. Actually, a little kid, they were going through one of the first grade classes, came through, and they dropped cards off to me one time. Well, one little boy said, I put something special in your card. I said, okay. the secretary went to put him in a bag, and she goes, "Here's a Pokemon card." He had tucked a Pokemon card in my card. But the best part was I went to a class and came back, and a little sweet child left a letter on my desk for me that says, "I'm glad you're back." If I had to rate the worst things about ALS, for me personally, they aren't the disease, it's the effect. My wedding band would get in the inside of my hand, and I was afraid of losing my diamond. I take complete pride in being a wife and mother. The other, of course, was having to leave a job I loved. But there are perks to ALS. There is a disadvantage I forgot. Being in a house with 3 boys and they don't know how to put a ponytail in. Disadvantage. But advantage is they love me a lot. I'm not supposed to lose weight. I'm supposed to up my calories. Perk. Total perk. Also, a perk. It's drawn. My family or my husband closer. I'm going. I have no doubt he loves me. The things he has done for me, you could have told me 5 years ago that he would do it and I would laugh. But I married a pretty amazing man. In the meantime, my stepmother got a name of a lady who has ALS, and she's actually had it for 12 years. So, yeah, she said, I would like to send you a book. I'm like, okay. I hate reading the book. I never wanted to read.
Nobody tells a dying guy to shut up.
Here's the book she sent me. And honestly, she has a name. I'll just call her Linda. It took me a while to pick it up and read it. But once I did, it was my story. A lot of the things are how I feel. So, in the journey, people would say, I'm praying for a miracle, and I, of course, would love it, but in the end, it isn't my will. It's God's, and I'm at peace with that. But this guy, he also had ALS. The reason he says nobody tells a dying guy to shut up is because he can talk about Jesus. Nobody's gonna tell him to shut up, right? Alright, so he has sections in here about what am I learning, and this described how I feel to a T. It says, if I look at the situation only from my perspective, this stinks. But life really isn't about me. If God is using this illness for good to draw people to Christ, if God is changing and growing my faith through it, if others' faith is being strengthened and changed because of it, if our family is learning to live in total dependence on God's power daily, who am I to argue with God? Perhaps these are the miracles. And I don't want people to think everything is happy, but I have to focus on what I need to do versus on what I have. And I can choose to sit and sulk every day, but I refuse to read any literature on ALS. I know it's going to get grim. I know that. But even in the darkest nights, He will never leave me or forsake. I haven't always been that good.
Yeah.
I hate reading, and I want to say it was a few years before all this. And somehow I said, right, oh, God understands. I don't like to read. But then, somewhere in that, I felt it was the deceiver telling me that. And it was a lie. And I read the best I can. ALS has allowed me to be a Mary and not a Martha. I was always a Martha. I did. I was a doer. I would have probably been Martha in the story, mad 'cause Mary sat at Jesus' feet. True, I would have, but now I get to sit at Jesus' feet. And I like it. Definitely a good place to be. Definitely. So, just today, it's by Sanctus Real. Whatever you're doing inside of me, it feels like chaos, but somehow there's peace. It's hard to surrender to what I can't see, but I'm giving into something heavenly. And my favorite, there's always a reason to always choose joy. There's something deeper the world can't destroy. Smile when you think you can't. Smile, get up and dance. Smile, there's a bigger plan. The storm only lasts for a while, so smile. I have ALS. ALS doesn't have me.